my number three is a movie that came out not too long ago, Empire of Light. It's a 2022 film directed by Sam Mendes, starring Olivia Colman, Michael Ward, Colin Firth, Toby Jones. A quick logline: a drama about the power of human connection during turbulent times, set in an English coastal town in early 1980s. Terrible description. This um
Well, surface level, that is what the film is. Yeah.
Sure, exactly. But
Yeah.
the movie is really about Olivia's character, who is facing a lot of mental health challenges,
Hmm.
and is definitely a lonely person. And it's about the connections that she finds through the small community around this movie theater, and also through movies, actually,
Hmm.
and how this snowballs in various ways. And it's also happening at a time when there's just a lot of racial tension and sort of other external factors that are happening in the UK, which sort of
Hmm.
further add to her own, trauma and whatever she's dealing with. So I put this movie on my list because, from a solution standpoint,
Hmm.
this is going to sound very corny, but in my life of, being alone in various places, not having friends, or even having friends, but still sort of being alone, or not having a partner, or all
Hmm.
of those things, I think movies have been a big part of my community. There's something about it. I'm going to sound so corny saying this. People are going to laugh, but but there's been something about walking into a movie theater, watching an amazing movie, especially if it's well done, getting moved and excited by it in all the ways, and having the shared experience with people that you don't really know, but now through the shared experience you've kind of, form a connection with all these people. And I think there's something about that that's been such a medicine for me in my
Hmm.
life, that I think that part really resonated with me in this movie. Like, Olivia's character initially actually doesn't even watch a movie because she's never really been into it. She just
Right.
works there.
Exactly. She's just a
um
job for her.
Exactly. But the movie theater community is definitely a big part of how she's able to get out of bed and sort of, live a life and do the things. And she meets Michael Ward, and they form a great connection. So she's definitely kind of gaining and giving a lot back from a people standpoint, but
Hmm.
not so much about the movie itself. But we see that journey, and that moment does happen, and it's a pretty powerful moment in the film.
Hmm.
But yeah, curious if you'd seen this movie. I mean, this is a recent movie, so you probably just saw it now. I would think for the podcast.
Yeah, it was a movie that I had wanted to see, and then when it came out and got so like savaged
It
by
got
the
poo pooed.
critics, I was like,
Oh
okay, well
yeah,
maybe I don't need to see this because I do like a lot of Sam Mendes's films, and Olivia Colman's a great actress, and Roger Deakins, who's the DP, is one of my favorites.
yeah.
So maybe I would have eventually come around to this at some point, just out of curiosity. But I did obviously watch it for this. And Yeah, it's interesting. It was interesting because a lot of the things you just said are resonate with me as well. Like that, feeling of being in like having movies sort of help and be that solve for that feeling of loneliness. Even though ironically, it's not like you know the people around you, and it is a very
Mm-hmm.
solitary experience in a way because you're just looking at a screen. But
Mm-hmm.
something about that is that there's a magic of movies. So it is
Mm-hmm.
cheesy, but that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being cheesy. In fact, actually, I was at a movie theater the other day, and it was raining a lot in LA, feeling kind of lonely myself. Went to movie theater. There's only one other guy in it, but it still felt like okay, I'm not alone. There's one other person
Yeah.
watching this movie with me, and it was a great film and all that kind of stuff. So it still can happen. You don't even have to have a packed theater. That's really the
Yeah.
magic of the movies. So I think the themes in this movie around again finding your community, film being part of that, definitely I resonated. It resonated with me on a lot of those things. I do find the execution of this movie to be pretty bad,
Oh yeah.
and cheesy and not so good ways, kind of ham-fisted, and I can see why, if especially if the theme doesn't resonate with you, like people could easily savage this film for plenty of different
Totally.
reasons. And even Olivia Colman's performance, I think she didn't really have a much safety. She was doing some things I was like, I don't know, this isn't really working for me. But I think maybe like you, I mean, I don't know if you found as many flaws in the film as I did, but because the theme does really, I definitely believe that movies are, helpful with loneliness, and a lot of my community is around film community, just like her. I sort of could look past all that things, and I wouldn't say it's as bad as people made it out to be. Was sort of
Mm-hmm.
my point of view on this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I came out a little bit more positive on this. I actually really thought her performance was amazing.
Hmm.
And the combination of her performance, amazing score by
Yeah, the score is great.
Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, and then of
Hmm.
course Roger Deakins cinematography, like that combination. And there's something otherworldly about her performance in my mind as well. Like technical preparation aside, but just
Hmm.
the hauntedness and how she's going about her life and all of that really landed well on me. I think the stuff that didn't land well with me, which has sort of been a common complaint with this film, is that it has just too many themes going on.
Right, right,
That
right.
And that's why what you were saying, it feels a little bit ham-fisted in that sense, because there isn't much time to really deal properly with the external factors, the racial
Yeah,
tension,
yeah.
and then her. Like, I wish they had just focused on her story, and that would have been perfect, because everything that was happening with her storyline made a lot of sense to me. It was very moving.
Hmm.
And I don't know, this is on a personal note, because I also watched this movie alone, because it was one of those days I was like, oh, I'm just going to go and watch this in the theater by
Mm.
myself.
Oh, you
And
went to the theater. Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, there's something about the experience that it took me back to those times when I used to do that quite a bit. And I was sort of new in town, or didn't have many friends, or didn't have a partner in my life, or any of that stuff. That this is maybe sharing way too much, but I wept after watching this
Oh,
movie.
wow. Wow.
Not in the theater. It sort
Yeah,
of
yeah,
was a
yeah.
delayed reaction. Like, it
Mm.
hit me hours after watching this movie. And
Interesting. Yeah.
this is really why this movie is on the list,
No,
even though
no,
it's
yeah.
not, brilliant in all the ways, but it sort of hit me a lot after. So, and I don't know what that says about me,
Well,
but
I mean,
there
it
it
just
is.
says the movie landed really well with you. And a lot of times I have
Some
delayed
aspects of
reactions.
it.
Yeah, with where films will like sit with you for a while, or all of a sudden
Yeah.
you'll hit the emotional resonance of the film will sort of hit you a little bit later if it was that unique of an experience. Yeah, I did not see this in the theater. I just saw it on, I think it was like HBO Max or what have you for the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
podcast. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm glad I checked it out. I mean, again, I think it's definitely not good per se, but it's not as bad as people say it was. I think a
Yeah.
lot of the things you were touching on too, like the racial piece of this just did not work at all for me, and just felt kind of yeah, like out of place in a way that was sort of odd.
Yeah.
But enough of the other themes, hit me. So I'm glad I saw it finally, because again, I don't think it's as bad as people say. I mean, it is
I don't
beautiful too.
think so.
Like they did a great
Yeah.
job with that set. I don't know if that was a actual theater or if they built the thing for the film, but so many of the
A bit of
shots,
both.
yeah, so many of the shots, especially in the beginning, where there's a lot of wide shots and just Coleman's alone, and it's again that
Mm-hmm.
sense of loneliness, but the theater's sort of always there in the background of a lot of the shots, sort of say that's kind of looming over the proceedings and her feelings of like this could be the safety that she could have.
Mm-hmm.
I just think
Mm-hmm.
Deakins always does a great job, even if the film isn't great. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad I saw it. Hey there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I cover a topic around important people, places, events, and moments in our lives, and then explore it through 3 of our favorite movies. Subscribe right now, or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.